Tonight, the MMA world shifts its focus to Doha, where Arman Tsarukyan steps back into the octagon after nearly a year and a half away. Yet the energy around his return feels nothing like a comeback. It feels like the beginning of a campaign. In the main event of UFC Qatar, Tsarukyan faces the always dangerous Dan Hooker, a fighter known for grit, power, and a willingness to wade into chaos. But the stakes here stretch far beyond a typical headliner. Tsarukyan has made his intentions unmistakably clear. If he wins on Saturday, he is ready to fight for the lightweight title immediately. No breaks, no negotiations, and no hesitation. He wants champion Ilia Topuria in January. For a fighter coming off a long layoff, the confidence is startling, and it's sending shockwaves through a division that suddenly feels wide open after Islam Makhachev's exit. This is not just a return bout. It's a declaration of urgency. In his conversation with MMA Fighting, Tsarukyan spoke with the kind of intensity usually heard only in fighters preparing for title bouts. He described the Hooker fight as a moment that could define the next chapter of his career, one that could either launch him toward the belt or push him back into the uncertainty that plagues so many contenders hovering near the top. "I don't want to wait," he said plainly, and his reasoning is clear. In the lightweight division, momentum is everything. As he put it, losing would cost him everything, but winning would open the door to the opportunity he has chased for years. A 5-round main event against a respected veteran is the perfect proving ground. If he dominates, the message to the UFC brass will be impossible to ignore. But Hooker has made a career out of defying predictions, and Tsarukyan cannot afford a single lapse against a fighter with knockout power and veteran cunning. The other force shaping this moment is Ilia Topuria, the new lightweight champion who snatched the vacant belt in spectacular fashion. His knockout victory over Charles Oliveira in the first round of UFC 317 signaled the beginning of a new era, one marked by explosive power and a willingness to stand and trade with some of the most dangerous fighters in the world. As soon as he captured the title, contenders began circling, each hoping to seize the first crack at the crown. Officially, the conversation has included Paddy Pimblett and Tsarukyan, though their resumes are vastly different. Pimblett, a fan favorite, has momentum but lacks wins over elite competition. Tsarukyan, by contrast, has fought top-level opposition and has never been shy about expressing his belief that he is the most complete lightweight not holding the belt. Saturday's fight will decide whether his name rises to the top of the list or disappears beneath it. One name Tsarukyan insists does not belong in that conversation is Justin Gaethje, known for brawls that leave crowds roaring. Gaethje is always mentioned as a potential title challenger, but Tsarukyan was blunt. Gaethje hasn't earned it. In his view, defeating an opponent on a losing streak should not place anyone near a championship opportunity, especially in a division filled with hungry, active contenders. His comments have stirred debate among fans who respect Gaethje's violent legacy, but acknowledge that recent results and rankings cannot be ignored. Tsarukyan argues that Pimblett and himself are the only realistic choices for the next shot, and that Saturday's performance will be the determining factor. While the promotion may lean toward Pimblett for marketability, Tsarukyan believes that a decisive victory over Hooker will make the matchmaker's decision unavoidable. It's a gamble, but one he embraces fully. The stakes for this main event extend even further when considering Tsarukyan's long layoff. Nearly 18 months outside the cage is a test few fighters navigate flawlessly. Timing, pressure management, and cage rhythm all risk deterioration. But Tsarukyan has insisted that these months have not been idle. They've been invested. He claims to have sharpened his striking, refined his wrestling transitions, and improved his conditioning to championship-ready levels. The question is not whether he's talented. Everyone knows he is. The question is whether he can immediately re-enter at the highest level against an opponent who thrives in brutal, high-volume exchanges. Hooker has earned his reputation the hard way. He's taken damage, dealt damage, and forced some of the division's toughest fighters into survival mode. Tsarukyan believes his skill will overcome Hooker's ferocity. But the octagon is a place where confidence can evaporate in seconds. Saturday will reveal whether his ambition is grounded in preparation or in risk. As fight night approaches, analysts are already questioning how Tsarukyan's speed and wrestling heavy pressure will mesh with Hooker's long-range striking and stubborn durability. Hooker isn't easily taken down, and when he is, he's notoriously difficult to keep on his back. But Tsarukyan's style isn't about holding opponents down. It's about overwhelming them with transitions, pace, and constant threat. If he can force Hooker backward, cutting the cage and denying him space to counter, Arman will control the rhythm of the fight. But if Hooker dictates distance, using his reach to intercept Tsarukyan's entries with knees and sharp jabs, the momentum could swing quickly. Hooker thrives in chaos, and if he can drag Tsarukyan into a brawl, this main event could explode into one of the most unpredictable fights of the year. The tactical clash, combined with the emotional stakes, ensures that every second will feel heavy. While Tsarukyan focuses on Hooker, the wider lightweight division watches carefully. Topuria, the new champion, has yet to defend his belt, and the landscape beneath him is shifting rapidly. Pimblett brings star power, but continues to face criticism over his level of competition. Gaethje, despite his highlight reel knockouts, finds himself on the outside looking in. Fighters such as Mateus Gamrot, Beneil Dariush, and Charles Oliveira remain dangerous presences, though none currently have the momentum needed to leap into a title shot. This creates a rare window, one in which a single spectacular performance can move a contender directly into championship negotiations. Tsarukyan knows this. His insistence on fighting Topuria in January is more than ambition, it's strategic timing. A decisive win over Hooker, coming after months of inactivity, would showcase not only readiness, but urgency. And urgency, in the UFC business model, often speaks louder than rankings. For Hooker, the implications are just as serious. At this stage of his career, each fight carries enormous consequence. A win over Tsarukyan would vault him back into the title conversation and re-establish him as a top-tier threat. But a loss could shift him into a role he has worked hard to avoid, the gatekeeper standing between rising contenders and the elite. Hooker has fought killers for years, often accepting matchups few others wanted. And while that has earned him immense respect, it has also left him battered. His ability to absorb damage is legendary, but even legends have limits. Saturday's fight may determine whether Hooker remains a legitimate contender or transitions into a new phase of his career. When fighters reach this crossroads, desperation often brings out their sharpest form, and that unpredictability adds yet another layer of danger for Tsarukyan. As for Tsarukyan, this moment represents more than a pathway to Topuria. It's a chance to redefine the narrative surrounding him. For years, he has been viewed as the future of the lightweight division, the prospect with elite grappling, fluid striking, and championship potential. But futures can only remain hypothetical for so long. Fans want proof, and the UFC wants stars who seize the moment rather than wait for their turn. Tsarukyan's willingness to fight again in January, only weeks after a 5-round main event, demonstrates a mindset that aligns perfectly with the promotion's expectations. If he wins cleanly and calls out Topuria with confidence, that message will resonate globally. A young, hungry contender ready to step into the brightest spotlight. But everything hinges on one factor: performance. In MMA, no declaration carries weight unless it is backed by a dominant showing inside the cage. As the fighters make their final preparations, the anticipation surrounding UFC Qatar grows by the hour. This event represents a crossroads for the lightweight division. A resurgent contender returning from a long absence, a relentless veteran fighting to protect his rank, and a newly crowned champion watching from afar as potential challengers rise and fall. Tsarukyan's bold promise to take a title fight in January adds a sense of urgency rarely felt outside championship bouts. Hooker's grit and unpredictability inject the matchup with danger, and the broader narrative, questions about Pimblett, doubts about Gaethje, the emergence of Topuria, turns this main event into a decisive moment for the entire weight class. When the octagon door closes in Doha, careers may pivot, rankings may shift, and the next chapter of lightweight history may begin. Whether Tsarukyan's comeback becomes a coronation or a cautionary tale, one thing is certain: the stakes have never been higher.